stick around. I'm full of bad ideas.
So, starting off with Chapter 10, we're going to have basically a walking simulator until we get down to the bowels of the ship in the tram canal. That's the correct terminology for it anyways. I don't know exactly what you would call the maintenance area underneath the tram stations, but we won't have any encounters until that point, so we don't really have to worry about anything besides collecting all the stuff that we find. But back in the Ishimura, everything's kind of been getting cleaned up. It's been basically scrubbed clean of all the bodies and sludge that were left behind after Isaac decided to destroy the marker in the first one.
Ellie, I'm in. There should still be a computer in the flight lounge. I can check the ship's status from there.
Okay? You sound a little nervous.
Last time I was here, things didn't go so well. Look,
Bit of an understatement. But before we go and use the panel for checking systems, we're going to go through the door on the left here, because there will be a power node in the bathroom over this way, as well as an audio log if you care about that, and the text log in front of the bathroom. We go to the right, we get the power node, we go to the left, and we get the audio log and an item.
Go on. This is Hedrick. You really don't hear anything when you're cleaning these bathrooms? Every shift, I swear, I hear something in the walls, like a scratching noise. When I stop moving, it stops. When I move again, it waits a bit, then comes back. Today, it followed me around right under my feet like it was stalking me. I can't take this, man. The ship is cursed. It is a bad omen that it's here. I'm putting in for a transfer. You should too.
So yeah, basically the Ishimura still gives people bad vibes. It's a little odd that it seems almost supernatural that this ship is cursed in a way.
I'm gonna have to go down to engineering. This should be interesting.
They never really explained that too much, but at the same time, I'd probably be freaked out to work on this thing too after hearing all the shit that happened. But we're back to where we originally started in the first game, where we got our first plasma cutter, ended up losing half of the crew right off the bat. Here we're going to get on the workbench and finally upgrade our contact beam all the way with the special for the secondary fire. We're going to fully upgrade the plasma cutter. And then I'm going to fully upgrade my Reg HP, which will fully heal me as well. I was missing a little bit of health, but you'll see it go all the way to the top. And again, we don't really have anything to worry about until we get to the tram underside, so I'm just kind of going around collecting stuff as we go along. Because they do still give us a few items along the way. And so we have a right and a left path here. Of course it tells us to go right, so we're obviously going to go to the left. Since we're not going to get attacked, this stuff over here is just free. Also get this audio log from Henrik again.
It's Hedrick. Did you come in last shift? Did anyone? I think it's just me down here now. I got lost last night when the lights went out, and I fell down a ramp. I think...
Poor Hedrick can't catch a break. He seems to be constantly getting hurt or paranoid.
I hear something in my locker. Screw this! I'm heading up. I'm never coming back here again.
But in the next room, we're definitely going to want to be prepared. It's going to be a front-to-back kind of confrontation. As soon as we get up near these boxes, they will become apparent that the Ishimura is not safe. So now we have our contact beam at the ready. We stasis the brute. And easy enough to get rid of him. Because at base level, the contact beam always does its max amount of damage. The only thing that you have to worry about is the charge rate, which, whenever something is stasis, you have all the time in the world, essentially. But there will be a second brute, and lucky for him, we still have our contact beam. So, he's gone too. And we definitely want to make sure to pick up the semiconductor that they drop. But now we're going to start have to worrying about the Necromorphs that'll come up behind us, as well as the ones that come up out of the vents. We also have to be mindful that there will be a guy behind us, but it's just a pregnant, so it is kind of slower. They don't really have a run animation. They do have a faster waddle, but not a full-on sprint like this guy here. So, I wasn't too concerned with how quickly he would get up behind us. But we essentially just do a front-to-back sweep. And here, you always want to make sure to try and kinesis them and spike them with their own kinesis arms. Or if you can't kinesis them, it means they're alive. So, always be sure to do that, otherwise you can have a spook moment like that. It doesn't cost you anything to kinesis and throw the arms back at them, so you might as well. But we'll grab the power node down the way, and since we cleared out everything behind us, we just need to do the panel in our free moment. And as always, I just start from the up position and work my way around clockwise. If you see it hint turn blue, then just go to where it was and do it.
I'm on my way to the centrifuge.
Just be careful.
I'll call you when it's online.
But we're just going to clear out all the cabinets on the tram platform and then work our way down to the centrifuge. There is a store around the corner too, so we can definitely take advantage of that. And if you would like, you can also get power nodes here, because there is a workbench down below that will be free to use. I just make some room with clearing the inventory, because I know we're going to have quite a brawl coming. I just want to make sure that I have enough to pick up everything, as well as enough plasma cutter to get me through it. So, we're definitely going to have quite a cluster coming after us. And then I also grab myself some power nodes, just because I know there's a bench down below. But here we actually have a bit of context as to what happened to all the bodies after the first one.
Research summary organic material analysis. There are several shocking findings relating to the sludge-like material found throughout the Ishimura. First, it is human DNA. Second, and far more disturbing, it reanimates in the presence of a marker signal. The only conclusion we can come to is that the entire Ishimura crew was infected and reconstructed and then fell into a soupy DNA sludge when the Aegis 7 marker was destroyed.
So basically, just like it said, the marker, after it was destroyed, everything just kind of disintegrated into a soup-like substance. Kind of gross, but that would explain how they were able to get rid of everything. Although that's a lot of stuff to get rid of, so it's a little strange. But we're finally going to upgrade the stasis module. Honestly, if you use stasis as like more than I do, I would highly recommend just doing it first anyways. Because the amount of energy and duration that you can get from it upgraded is still pretty decent. Stasis isn't nearly as good of a tool as it is in Remake. In fact, it kind of gets neutered a lot in the second one. But it is still good for just basically saving your ass if something gets on top of you. In fact, I make advantage of it in the next room, so it is still a highly precious tool to have in your arsenal, which I should use a lot more in this game, but half the time I'm just too busy trying to fire at things because I think I can hit it, but my consistency with actually hitting things is worse than it should be. But here, we're immediately going to go to the left and just start running our way down. Because there's actually stuff coming behind us, we don't want to get sandwiched. So I make my way all the way to the back. Because it's better to have your viewpoint have everything in front of you instead of having everything surrounding you. So we put our back to a wall by going all the way to the left, and then we can deal with everything in front of us. So we kind of just clear everything in the first wave. And we also have the power node over here, so we're going to grab that and then work our way back over to the right. Which is much easier without something behind us and in front of us. But there are half-stalkers in here too, so you kind of have to watch your feet, as well as the lurkers. And also you just heard the breathing behind me, so I knew this guy was coming. But then I knew I had to deal with the lurker still, so I ducked behind the boxes because I heard his screeching like he was getting ready to fire, which was accurate. A lot of times you can defend yourselves just by hearing things, so if you're paying attention you can hear kind of gaspy breaths behind you, or lurkers getting ready to fire, or pukers getting ready to shoot their missile, vomit, whatever you want to call it, spitballs. And again, you can see I use the tactic of sweeping one side of the room to look back behind me on the other. In hallways like this, it's in your best interest to do stuff like that, because if you get swarmed from both sides, it's a lot worse than getting swarmed from one side. Also, the force gun in that room, if you have the bloody vintage suit at this point, and the bloody force gun, it will absolutely just destroy everything in that hallway. Basically with the force gun, its best situation is hallways like that. It's not really good in the open, but if you have a narrow kind of condensed area where it can do its best work, it will absolutely clear out a hallway. Dead Space 2 is more arena kind of areas, but you do get the hallways on occasion, like the labs at the end of the game, where you can use it to its fullest effect. And more often than not, the force gun will take about 3 shots to down most anything in the game. It doesn't take 3 for everything, but that's just general rule of thumb. It'll take about 3 at a close range to get rid of it. So it is a viable option for increasing its damage and capacity and using it to sweep hallways. But now, on our way back to the quarantine shower, we don't really have to worry about anything. The drag tentacle's just a hallucination, so... But we're gonna go back to the showers.
Ellie, I've got the centrifuge online. I'm heading back towards the tram station.
Man, I'm done.
Okay, I've almost got us disconnected from the mag rail.
And this time we will get attacked in the quarantine shower, so I start setting up for that. A lot of it's going to be pack, so we definitely like our force gun in this situation. And you don't want to stand next to the windows in particular, because that's where they're going to be jumping through. So if you put yourself over in a corner or somewhere where you can get a decent line of sight of everything and deal with them. Like over by the wall that I'm standing at now is one of the safer windows. They don't really bust through that one. They like to come from the doorway windows. So when you see them jumping in, just fire one shot and you will clear out the entire wave of them. As said before, if you ever try the force gun in the elementary section, it absolutely just makes it a cakewalk, and you don't have to worry about anything. But this puker jumps out of the vent. I happen to be standing right next to him at that point. But we're just going to use stasis to give some of that get away from me, get off me power. And then we have our contact beam fully upgraded, so we're definitely going to take advantage of the fact that it applies stasis to everything. And a thing of note with the contact beam, like in that situation, if the Necromorph had still hit me while I was doing the secondary fire, it actually would have still done damage. Isaac can't be flinched while he's doing it, but he can still be hurt while he's secondary firing. And side note, Puker's hitboxes stay very active while they're stasised and flying. So, yeah. Always remember that little detail. But yeah, going back to the contact beam, it has the added benefit of Isaac can't be flinched while he's secondary firing. He can be hurt, but if he's knocked down by, say, an explosive or a stalker headbutt, that will stop the animation. So you have to be especially careful with stalkers while you're doing the secondary fire, because they can cancel it. Most everything else can't, though. But we're going to start heading back towards the elevator and watch the wise ass on the floor here. He thought he was being smart. Little did he know. And now we have the waving Necromorph spike while we go up the elevator. Not really planned. Looks a little goofy, but it happens. But now we have access to our store again, so we can take advantage of the fact of that. Sell off any ammo that's not necessary or we're not going to use. And here I realized that I don't really have any plasma cutters, so I'm definitely going to buy some. Always got to make sure that you're locked and stocked. You don't want to run into a situation where you have absolutely no ammo. But we go through the store and there will be Necromorphs with the nuggets on the ground. So we get rid of that and then deal with all of the guys on the floor. And the force gun will just help us out by crowd controlling, so it definitely helps. But regular Necromorphs are basically a joke at this point. And we get near the tram and there's more nuggets, but again, force gun just cleans house with them. Anything in particular that's a one-shot or really low health, the force gun just makes an absolute joke.
What? Ah, shit. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But he stopped talking, he won't look at me. How's it going at your end? And please tell me this plan is going to work.
I'm almost there. I'm headed to the bridge now to activate the gravity tethers.
Well, good.
So Ellie's having her own fun with Strauss over across the way
Unexpected obstruction.
and cursing us.
Shutting down. Welcome to the medical deck.
Crap.
She had to say it. She did us dirty. So as soon as we get in here in the long hallway, we're going to get attacked. Here, I just tried to take out the guy in the front, and then the spitter says, "Get out of my way," and immediately spits on us, which I thought was kind of hilarious. I did not expect that at all. Like, she came in hot and was not at all happy that that man was in her way. But we're going to grab everything in the room here. There's a power node on the wall we definitely want. And in the next area we're going to have exploders and other enhanced necromorphs, so we definitely don't want them near us. The exploders, that is. The enhanced we don't want near us, but at the same time the exploders take priority. And there is a stasis recharge in this room, so we can be a little gratuitous with it. But you definitely want to be careful, it isn't just one wave in this room. We're definitely going to have more. But if you want a stasis refill before you touch the panel, it's over on the wall on the right. So as soon as we finish the panel, watch out behind you. And again, there is stasis in this room, so go crazy with it. And whenever you hear an exploder, just immediately start scanning the room. If they get on top of you, you're going to regret it. But we refill our stasis and then we'll just go through the door. And now we'll just have a hallucination of Nicole in this room, but at the same time we have a power node across the way, which we definitely want. We're going to clear out everything else that we find in here.
I'm sorry about everything.
Overall, the medical deck is probably one of my favorite sections in the game, just because the sheer amount of detail and storytelling in it, with the black lights. It's definitely a really cool section. And here we don't have to worry, there's just a jump scare. But we have a ladder in our way. Just move it and then go through the door. And yet again, there's another stasis recharge right here, so as soon as you see baby number 1 here, you can stasis it, unless you don't think that you need to, but it is an option. And that Necromorph across the room we don't have to worry about. He takes care of himself, but we do have to worry about this Leaper. and then we can start going down. We can actually treat this elevator as kind of a safe place, in the sense that if we use it to go upwards, it'll protect us in a pseudo sort of way. So that's what I do. I opt to start the elevator up so that we can start firing down at stuff while we're going upwards. Because they can't really get on the elevator with us too easily, unless the Leaper jumps on top of us while we're on it. It's kind of like a safe place in motion. So that's why I opt to use the elevator back up to avoid a hit. But there is a power node in this room and other goodies sitting around, so we definitely want those. We're going to need to take the battery pack out of the wall to stop the electric flow. But then just be prepared after we get across the way, because stuff will start coming for us. And this guy came out of the vent and started going at me hot and heavy. So that happened. And then the Leaper came off the wall, hit me right away. But then I just started abusing the fact that I have stasis. And then abusing the fact that I can also stasis everything anyways. And we just start using the arm blades. Again, stuff can go really south really quick in this game. The Necromorphs are super aggressive when they want to be. And Leapers are going to attack you from all angles a lot of the time. And here we just had some nuggets in a box, so I get rid of them. But yeah, if you let the Necromorphs take over the flow of the combat, they will absolutely start just rocking you. They can be super aggressive when they want, and they are fast as hell. So you want to make sure that you CC everything that you can when you can. But we're going to fully max out the rig's energy, so that'll give us a refill. And at the same time, it will give us 4 stasis shots at any given point. I'm not particularly worried about upgrading the contact beam whatsoever after this point, so I don't really worry about that. The best thing you can do for the contact beam is the capacity and charge time, but other than that, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. Because I use the alt fire more than anything, that's still 4 charges of getting off me at any given point. So we still have 4 oh shit buttons essentially with the contact beam. But we have to wait for Nicole to finish up her talking, and we'll go ahead and use the store that we have here, because why not? We need to do some adjustments. And currently I'm liking the amount of health that we have, especially since we have a triple health pack, so I do put some of them in there. And we definitely want more plasma cutter because we were absolutely empty. And a couple of power nodes. You can go backwards towards the workbench that we were at if you want to use them, but I didn't really feel a need. Our stuff is essentially maxed that I care for, so it's not a huge concern. But now we've got the tram section over on this side that we need to worry about lurkers in. And they are really hard to see in this tunnel sometimes, so we definitely want to be aware that they are in here and try and keep eyes on them at all times. And something that is of note, the lurkers, if you have the force gun here as well, if you have the force gun here as well. It will actually hit at a pretty moderate distance, and it will get rid of them in about 2 or 3 shots. Especially if the damage is upgraded, then you don't really need to worry about their tentacles at all. You can just hit them. And it will hit a wide range at a moderate distance, like I said. So if you saw one on a wall, you could immediately just force gun them. Which, honestly, I would probably opt for if I did this part again. Just because it would save a lot of headache with keeping track of the lurkers going around the walls. As well as having to dodge their projectiles. And this one was just being a pain in the worst location. So, had to deal with him. The projectiles on the lurkers definitely hurt a lot in this one as well. Basically, think of anything that hits you as it's going to have health you. Like, everything hits like a truck on steroids on Zealot.
Exiting zero gravity.
And they're just the sign of pick up the empty cans, and then somebody didn't want to pick it up. So Isaac has another hallucination, and this store is actually offline. So be prepared, because shit is about to get real in this room. So I clear out the nuggets first, and then there's just a leaper right behind me. And shit starts to go crazy pretty damn quick, like I said. And that leaper was just being super aggressive. Like, really aggressive. So, I should have probably taken him out first. Pulled out the contact beam while all of them were stasis and just secondary fired. Would have saved me a lot of heartache there. But then we also want to watch out for the stalkers, because their headbutts hit very hard. So yeah, that was a good use case where the contact beam secondary fire would have been really good. I was just unsure because of the stalkers in this room, but at the same time I had stasised him, so there was no real threat of being knocked out of the secondary fire. But it's a really good idea to kind of CC everything whenever you can. And since I had 2 of them down and the leaper was still in the stun state from the force gun, it would have been a really good idea to pull out the contact beam and immediately secondary fire on that occasion. Because then it would have reapplied stasis to everything that was hit, as well as re-knocking everything down and or flat out killing it. Because we fully upgraded our alt fire on our contact beam, it would have probably just immediately decimated everything around me, and I would have saved a lot of health and heartache. But here we have stalkers again. I'm not too concerned with them as long as we have some area, so they're not a big concern. And the puker, I should have just let him go ahead and fire, and then kinesis. Biggest problem you'll have with this game a lot of the time, though, is just the fact that bodies disappear super quickly, so you won't get the supplies from them, which is kind of a bummer. But there you could actually hear one of the crawlers, but I just opted to say, screw that, go down to the captain's nest, because we're not coming back up.
Alright. The centrifuge looks full to full power from here.
Great. Let's hope this works. It'll be tight.
But we're going to go ahead and activate the gravity tethers to bring Tideman's shit back over to us, so Ellie can get across. And oddly enough, this is the only button that I'm aware of where you need to hold it down to activate. I never really understood why that was the case, but it is a interesting note.
Now get back here, the tracks are moving.
No, just go. I'll use one of the escape
But with that, that's going to be basically the end of Chapter 10. It's just talking and then going on the escape pod. And then we'll continue on with Chapter 11, where we go down to the mine. So, other than that, we're going to talk to our crazy ex, and then that'll be it. But let me know what you guys think, and have a good one.
I'm away. Ellie, did you make it?
Isaac, we crossed the track, but we're coming in hot.
I just need you to see what I see, Ellie. I promise it won't hurt.
Just put down the screwdriver.
Trust, no!
Proximity warning. Impact detected. Guidance system malfunction. Guidance systems offline.
Oh, shit.
Graceful impact.
Isaac, are you there? You're right, Isaac. The Ishtar is a great ship. I am so lucky to be serving aboard her. You made me stick with it. You made me stick with it. You made me stick